afraid of that noise, Jim. Look at that little one. He's scared of you. Hi, kittens.
Okay, that's it. Noise is done.
You're so cute.
It's really fun, really rewarding. You get really good with the dudes you're working with.
There's it's a document titled Relocation Assistance Agreement, is where the broom swept is in quotation marks.
The broom swept?
Do you see about halfway down where it says the occupant agrees to leave the property in broom swept condition?
I definitely do.
Okay. And then do you see where it continues on? So occupant agrees to leave the property in broom swept condition and vacating the premises, including the removal of all trash and debris. You see that?
Yeah, I definitely do.
Okay. And is there anywhere in this agreement where the definition of the property is limited to just the house and not any other of the premises commonly known as 740 Filbert Lane?
Well, the way it's written up, to me, it just seems like the house is to be broom swept. Because again, how do you broom sweep a 1 acre property? It's trickery.
Okay. And then do you agree that, let's see, on the the third page of that agreement, very last paragraph, I'm just going to read from there. It says that this agreement shall constitute the entire agreement between the parties, and no changes to it shall be valid and enforceable except by supplemental agreement in writing signed by all parties to this agreement.
I only have 2 pieces of paper. I don't have a third one.
Okay, well, it's for the court's record, I am reading this directly from the Declaration of Noncompliance, and which contained a copy of the agreement and order in this matter, where the relocation assistance agreement is an exhibit.
I have it in front of me.
Okay. So, Mr. Smith, I understand that you're saying that the trash and debris that remains on the property is not yours. Is that correct?
Definitely not mine. Like your witness stated, that stuff looks like it's been there for many, many years.
Okay. Do you agree that there's trash and debris on the property?
That's not mine, yes.
Okay. And did anyone force you to enter into this agreement?
No.
And are you still in possession of the property?
I have the key, but I am couch surfing right now because I'm trying to leave the house in the same condition.
Okay, so you have not turned over possession of the property to the plaintiff, is that correct?
No, because I feel you guys broke the contract by using trickery words. Wordplay. For somebody who don't know, you know, the trickery you guys use.
Okay, no further questions, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, any other evidence, sir?
No, I don't have no other evidence.
All right, let's see if they got any more evidence, and we'll move to the argument part.
Okay.
All right, any rebuttal evidence?
No, Your Honor.
All right, then let's do argument.
Your Honor, the issue before the court is limited to the issues in ORS 105.1492A, primarily the question of whether the defendant complied with the order. The order in this case is the stipulated order, being the agreement and order entered herein on April 1st, where the parties agreed to comply with the attachment to that order. Attached to that order is a copy of the relocation assistance agreement that, as previously identified, states that it is the only agreement between the parties, and there is no other modification to the agreement. Further, it states that the defendant agreed to remove all trash and debris from the property and to leave the property in broom-swept condition. By defendant's own testimony, trash and debris remains at the property. So regardless of an understanding of the term of art broom-swept condition, the property, the defendant did not comply with the agreement, again, pursuant to his own testimony, by the remaining trash and debris at the property. There's nothing in the agreement that limits the property to the house, and there's nothing in the agreement that limits the removal of trash and debris being only trash and debris which the defendant believes belongs to him. This is an action for possession of the property, the entire property, and the agreement relates to the same and would not otherwise be effectual if it was not for the property to which the plaintiff seeks possession. Defendant claims that he did not understand the agreement, and while that may be the case, that's not a legal basis for a defense of non-compliance. If it were, every single defendant in a landlord-tenant action would be able to just leave trash and debris strewn about the property, claim it wasn't theirs, and claim they didn't understand the agreement that they signed, which would upend the entire landlord-tenant process and the purpose of the statute encouraging the parties to come to a mediated agreement to try to resolve these issues. So based upon the evidence before the court, the plaintiff's exhibit 1, the testimony of Carol Nagelhow, the testimony of the defendant, and the terms of the agreement, the court should find in favor of plaintiff that the defendant failed to comply with the agreement and order entered herein on April 1st, and should the clerk should issue a writ of execution of judgment within 24 hours from the court's ruling.
Okay. Sir, now's your turn to make an argument. Well, I should interpret this the way you suggest.
Again, I just keep going back to this broom swept condition, because I'm not an attorney. I don't know like the legal terms they use. I don't understand. I didn't understand. You can broom sweep a property, and when I filled out the agreement, it talks about my personal property. And I understand that other people can, say that things aren't theirs or whatnot. I get that, but I honestly took the rest of my bit of money and I removed things that weren't mine, just to try to please them in the agreement. I was under my understanding that broom swept means the house. And again, because I don't know how you can broom sweep a whole property. I feel that I was tricked because of the wording in it. I've been more than willing to give the keys. I haven't tried to fight them. I haven't tried to do anything like that. Me and Tara had some private personal conversations about things on the phone. We talked. She even told me that you'll be happy once you leave.
Objection, Your Honor. Testimony is not in evidence.
But anyways, I just we had some conversations, and the whole time I still was never told that the 1 acre property had to be broom swept, because again, I don't know how somebody would put themselves into putting everything they have to move a trailer, a boat, and stuff like that wasn't theirs. You know, it wasn't my stuff. I didn't know they wanted me to clean up their whole property so they could sell it, more or less, you know? So again, I wouldn't have put my last $1,000 into the place. I would have just walked away instead of feeling that I got tricked. I just feel like I got tricked, you know, and that I put my last effort and I tried. You can see from my receipts that I have from the 5th of May that I was doing everything that I was supposed to do and beyond. Because again, it goes back to their use of wording, you know, the broom swept and how it's quotation marked. I'm frustrated, Your Honor. I do want to leave the property and just get everything settled, but I'm couch surfing now because I spent my last $1,000. So now I'm more in debt now, you know, and it really sucks. It's just, again, I never tried to fight them on anything. The only reason why I'm here today is because I feel like I got tricked and I'm out $1,000 right now. Because I was cleaning up the property and the house, mainly the house, because that's what I was told that needed to be cleaned. I didn't know that, you know, that it was a whole 1 acre property that, you know, I had to take boats and trailers because that would have costed more than my money that I have, you know? So, I want to get this over with, honestly. I feel like I kept my agreement, I feel. So I feel like, you know, I can't do nothing without this relocation money now. I'm couch surfing, you know, and I'm $1,000 in debt now, in the hole, out of my personal money. And, you know, I got tricked. I feel like I got tricked. So, I mean, I guess that's all I have to say.
And Mr. Halpern, anything else?
No, Your Honor, I think that plaintiff has made his case.
All right, so here's the thing. This contract, this relocation agreement says you're gonna do certain things and they're gonna do, and if you do those things, they're gonna pay you the money or they're gonna deduct the cost of doing the things certain costs you don't do. One of the things you agreed to do in the relocation agreement was to leave the property in broom swept condition when vacating the premises, including removal of all trash and debris. And I actually understand what you're saying about, well, the broom swept can't possibly apply to the grounds because it applies that it means swept out the building, is what it didn't even apply. So, but it probably applies to any buildings that might be on site. Now, whether these sheds are so bad off to constitute a building or not, I don't know. And frankly, they're not so much relying on the broom swept as they're relying on, and including the removal of all trash and debris. One way to read this is it means the removal of all trash and debris from the property, which includes the surrounding land, okay? And one way to read this is, and which I understand your confusion about, and I'm trying to say I think this is somewhat bit ambiguous, frankly, is that the broom swept seems to suggest removing all the trash from any buildings, you know, and the paragraph, the sentence, the portion of the sentence that says including removal of all trash and debris should apply only to any buildings that there are rather than the outlying buildings. There's other provisions in here that say if there's any trash or other property left on the property, then they can take that and deduct the cost of hauling that away from the $3,500, okay? But the other thing you agreed to do in this agreement was to be out by April 25th and turn over possession of the property then. That hasn't happened, right? And I understand why you didn't do it. I heard you say, I didn't do it because I felt that they were breaching the deal. But that's not the way this deal was set up to work. The deal was set up to work, you'd give them the keys and stuff, you'd get out, and then they'd give you the money minus whatever it cost them to finish the cleanup after you. And there still may be some dispute in the future about whether you get all the 3,500 or less, okay? I'm not deciding that today, all right? Because I think that, I'm trying to tell you, I think that I understand part of your concern about the room swept and the cost of the other stuff. But it's undisputed that when you agreed, you haven't moved out. And this is, all I'm deciding is who's entitled to possession of the property right now. I'm not deciding whether you get $3,500 or no money at all. That's not part of the deal that I get to decide at this point. That may be an action in a small claims court or something like that, but that's not what I get to decide. The only thing I get to decide right now is, did you fulfill the obligation of some or more, or all, did you fulfill all the obligations? I think you may have heard me tell everybody earlier, we gotta fulfill every obligation in the agreement, and one of those obligations was you're gonna not occupy the property after that date. So I'm gonna rule in their favor on as far as a non-compliance in order that they get possession of the property. I'm not making any decision about the money part of it, okay? And you may have to pursue that in a different court, in a small claims proceeding, okay? And we'll make you copies of your exhibits so that you don't lose them by having to come in here today, all right? I can't decide. I couldn't, even if I agreed with you, I couldn't give you the money today. All I could do is continue your possession of the property, right? So that's not the decision I get to make today, because this is an FE proceeding, not a small claims court.
So I have to take to the small claims court to get whatever.
You have to file something in a small claims court. We'll make you copies of all your exhibits, okay, sir? And we'll make copies, I'll return to you the color copies of the photographs that you entered.
Nothing's being touched. No, nothing's being touched. And then there's this weird clicking sound under the dash sometimes. And the brake pedal moves sometimes. This is, yeah, nothing's happening. We're not touching anything. Not touching anything. Now we're staying on stone ice. I know we're still on stone ice. I don't even know what button that is. Is that?
It's controlled up here.
I thought it was one of these on the dash. It's still just freaking out.
We know if you do Majestic. Have we done that one?
You know, not something you see every day. There's a cow on the road. Is this these people's cow? Is this your cow? Do you need any help? Yeah, well, but no, that's open though. Yeah. Where are you going, cow? Can I touch her? She can probably.
Oh, let's open another thing too.
Yeah. Maybe drive up there and see if it's theirs. You're talking to it. Yeah. Hi. Oh Lord, don't come near me. You're scary. She's trying to get back to her friends. I don't think she knows how. Getting so upset because she can't figure out how to get back, and they're all crying for her. Hear them? The man is here with me because I opened the door to the garage, and here's what happened. It just fell off. Like, it's not attached. It fell off. Thank you.
And are your pond plants here? Are your pond plants here then?
Yes, they're outside.
No, I just curious to make it seem like they're here.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Oh, here we are, salt. Crazy dogs, hey, no jumping. Listen, I have a new treat. Freeze-dried frog legs. We made these ourselves. Let's see, I don't know what the grayish color is. It's my fingers. Who wants the first one? Who got that one? Olivia did. Scarlett. No, Scarlett, you already have one. Scarlett, no. Clark, Vivian's always last. What do you guys think? It's kind of an expensive treat, so maybe don't eat it in seconds. They're not too sure about it. Wait to see what the other ones are doing. Okay. All right, yeah. I'm gonna go for it. Vivian, what do you think? Look at how messy that wall is. Mud everywhere. It's called a mud room. Apparently this is why. Oh, hey. I want to see. Okay. So you're into it. Clark, what do you think? Got a frog's legs hanging out of his mouth. That's disgusting. Okay. All right, well, they're a hit.